You think he's just texting casually? Think again, because sometimes the smallest message can scream the loudest truth that he's completely into you. Today, we're decoding three simple words that quietly reveal when a man is crazy about you, not through big speeches, not through drama, but through something much deeper. We live in a world where people text without thinking, but when a man truly cares, his words carry weight. It's not the late night "what's up" or the half-hearted "you good." It's when he says something that shows attention, vulnerability, and respect. It's when his message feels safe, calm, and intentional. When he doesn't just want your reply, he values your presence. Those three words don't always spell "I love you." Sometimes they mean "drive safe," "got home," or "miss you." Simple but real, because real love isn't loud, it's steady. If you've ever gotten a message that made your heart pause, not because it was romantic, but because it felt real, keep watching. You're about to see how these small words reveal a man's truest emotion and what it means when he finally sends them. Most women don't realize this, but the texts they ignore might actually be the loudest expressions of love they'll ever receive. You wait for long paragraphs, overthink his response time, and wonder why he isn't more expressive. But here's the truth. When a man is truly into you, when he's genuinely captivated in the best way possible, he doesn't send long essays. He sends just three words, three simple words that hold everything he feels but struggles to say. And no, they're not the obvious ones. Not "I love you" or "I miss you." Those come later, once he feels safe. The three-word texts I'm talking about appear quietly, in the middle of his day, when he's thinking of you without trying to. They slip out before he can second-guess himself, before he edits or hides his emotions. And if you've been receiving these messages but brushing them off as nothing serious, you might be missing the clearest signs that you hold a deep place in his heart and mind. Because men don't send messages just to fill silence. They reach out when something inside them pushes them to connect, when the urge to talk to you overpowers their fear of seeming too eager. Here's the surprising part. These three-word texts often look so normal that most women miss their importance completely. You might read them, smile, and move on, not realizing how much courage it took him to send them. Out of all the people he could have messaged, out of everyone in his world, he chose you in that moment with those exact words. Once you understand what these texts truly mean, you'll never view your messages the same way again. Suddenly, you'll see his emotions hidden behind every notification. When it comes to texting, men operate from a completely different mindset than women. For most women, texting is a natural part of connection, a way to stay close, check in, and share small pieces of emotion throughout the day. But for men, especially when they care deeply, every text carries meaning. Every message feels like a small risk. Every word is chosen carefully, even when it seems effortless. That's where the confusion starts. You expect emotional depth and long explanations, but he's expressing genuine truth in the fewest words possible. Let's look at what's going on in his mind. When a man feels strong emotional and physical attraction, his brain releases dopamine whenever he thinks of you or interacts with you. That chemical rush creates a need, not just a wish, to reach out, to make contact, to feel connected, to know you're thinking of him too. So when he sends a short text, it's often a response to that inner voice urging him to connect. But male psychology adds a twist. Men are taught from a young age that showing too many emotions equals weakness. They're told that expressing feelings makes them look less confident, less masculine, less in control. So even when he's constantly thinking about you, even when you're the first thought in the morning and the last before sleep, he rarely says it directly. Instead, he shows it through actions, through consistency, through those small, simple texts that actually mean everything. That's why the three-word text says more than it seems. It's short enough for him to protect his feelings and pretend it's casual. He tells himself, "I'm just being friendly, just checking in," but deep down, it's more than that. The fact that he's thinking about you in the middle of a busy day, that he's finding a reason to reach out, says more than words ever could. His messages may be brief, but his actions are shouting that you matter. Interestingly, research shows that men often think about the people they like more frequently than women do. They just express it less. That gap between what he feels and what he says builds tension, and that tension has to come out somehow. It comes out through those short, spontaneous texts, three words that feel safe to send but strong enough to calm the ache of wanting to reach you. He's not playing games. He's just trying to find a balance between showing his feelings and not scaring you away. Another key piece is emotional safety. A man will only keep reaching out if he feels his effort is accepted. If he senses warmth, interest, and understanding from you, those three-word texts will appear more often because you've become his safe place, the person he can open up to, even in small ways, without fear of being rejected or misunderstood. Once he sees you as emotionally safe, his behavior shifts. He begins to share more, little by little, even if it's only 3 words at a time. But not every man is bold in expressing interest. Some are shy around the women who matter most to them. Their messages might come off as too casual or distant, not because they don't care, but because they're scared of saying the wrong thing. They send those short messages and immediately start doubting themselves. Was it too much, too little, too obvious? This nervousness means that even a simple message might have taken him real courage to write. So if his texts seem minimal or cautious, don't assume he's not interested. He might be protecting a heart that's already deeply involved. In truth, male texting behavior is full of hidden meaning. It's not about how long his texts are or how poetic his words sound. It's about how often he reaches out, when he does it, and what's behind it emotionally. Once you learn to read those signals, those short 3-word messages change from random chats into undeniable signs that he's emotionally drawn to you. Now, let's look at one of the most powerful 3-word texts he can send. One that most women underestimate: thinking about you. At first glance, it seems like a kind gesture, maybe even generic, but when a man sends this, especially out of nowhere during his busy day, it's a big deal. You're not just a passing thought, you're a priority in his mind. Think about it. Men don't usually share their feelings randomly. They don't go around updating people about every thought or emotion. So when he pauses, takes out his phone, and tells you that you're on his mind, it's his way of saying, "You're the one I can't stop thinking about." That small action reveals that you've become someone who quietly interrupts his day, someone who matters more than you know. These small moments, hidden behind 3 simple words, are where real emotion lives. He may not use fancy language or grand gestures, but in those few words lies the truth, that you found your way into his thoughts, and that's exactly where he wants you to stay. Important enough that he's willing to risk looking interested. Important enough that he needs you to know he's thinking about you. What makes thinking about you even more powerful is how open it is. He's admitting that you take up space in his mind without knowing how you'll respond. You might ignore him. You might give a short reply. You might even leave him on read. He's aware of all that. Yet he sends it anyway, because the need to connect with you is stronger than the fear of rejection. That's not mild interest. That's emotional commitment. Pay close attention to when he sends that message. If it comes late at night, when everything is quiet, it means you're his peace, the person he wants to end his day thinking about. If it appears in the middle of a stressful workday, that means you're his break from the chaos, the calm in his storm. If it pops up on a slow weekend morning, it means you're part of his comfort, the person he wants in his slow, happy moments. The timing shows what place you hold in his emotional world. Also, look at how he continues after sending it. Does he text thinking about you and then wait for your answer? That means he's hoping you'll say you've been thinking about him too. Does he follow it with a question or a suggestion to meet? That's him turning emotion into action. He's not just saying he's thinking of you, he wants to do something about it. When a man turns feelings into effort, that's when you know it's real. The next 3-word text that says a lot is, "How are you?" I know it sounds like the simplest greeting ever. Everyone says it. But when a man who's genuinely drawn to you asks, "How are you?" it's not small talk. It's his way of stepping into your world. He truly wants to know how you're doing, what's on your mind, what's happening in your life. He's opening space for you to share because knowing you better has become one of his favorite things. Most people ask, "How are you?" out of habit. They throw it out and barely listen to the answer. But when a man asks and then stays, listens, follows up with more questions, remembers what you said last time, and brings it up again later, that's care. That's proof that what you feel matters to him. Watch how he reacts to your replies. If you say you're tired or stressed and he instantly asks why, wants to help, or tries to cheer you up, that's emotional involvement. If you tell him about something good and he celebrates with genuine excitement, matching your energy, that's connection. He wants to be the person who hears about your ups and downs, the one you reach out to first, the one who really gets you. Here's what's going on underneath. When a man regularly checks in with, "How are you?" he's building closeness. He's teaching you to see him as someone you can rely on emotionally, someone who's consistent, understanding, and tuned in to how you feel. This is how men act when they're thinking beyond short-term interest. They want real connection. They're not chasing quick attention. They're putting in the quiet, steady effort it takes to know you for real. The frequency of this question matters. If he asks once in a while, he's curious but cautious. If he asks every few days, you're becoming a part of his normal routine. If he checks in almost every day, you've become essential to his sense of balance and comfort. You're no longer an afterthought. You're part of his daily rhythm, like coffee in the morning or checking his messages. He's built you into his life. And there's another layer to this. How are you? Is also his way of staying connected, keeping himself present in your world. He knows that steady communication keeps him in your thoughts. He's making sure that even when you don't see each other, you're still emotionally linked. He's creating a habit, a rhythm where hearing from him feels normal, expected, comforting. Because men who are serious don't vanish. They stay consistent even with small gestures like 3 simple words. Now let's talk about another 3-word message that many misunderstand, but that speaks volumes. Miss you already, or its versions like I miss you or missing you today. When a man sends something like this, especially after you've just spent time together, it means your presence left a mark. Being with you felt so right, so natural, that now the absence feels strange. The moment he's away from you, he feels that emptiness. He's not ready for the connection to pause just because the meeting ended. Most men don't easily admit that they miss someone. It feels too open, too revealing. It feels like admitting that someone has become necessary for their happiness. So when he says it anyway, he's choosing truth over ego. That's huge. He's letting you see that you matter enough for him to lower his guard. Think about the context. Did you just spend the whole day together and get that message later that night? That's a man who can't get enough of you, who feels your absence the second you leave. Did you just have a deep talk and now he's saying he misses that? He's drawn to your emotional energy, to the way you make him feel seen. Did he text, I miss you, on a completely random day? Then you're not just someone he likes, you're someone he carries in his heart. And that's what makes this kind of message so powerful. It hints at his hopes for the future. When he tells you he misses you, he's really saying he wants more time, more talks, more moments. He's expressing that what you have now isn't enough, that he craves more closeness. It's a small invitation, a gentle way of asking, do you feel this too? He's putting his heart forward to see if yours meets it halfway. Also, pay attention to how often he says it. If I miss you keeps showing up in his texts, that means you've become part of his emotional routine. He depends on your presence in a healthy way. You've become his person, the one he wants to share happiness with when things go well, the one whose comfort he seeks when things get tough, the one whose laughter makes ordinary moments better. Missing you has become his constant feeling when you're apart. And he's not shy about saying it because deep down he's hoping you'll fix that distance by being with him again soon. Some men even get creative with variations. Wish you were here. Could use your company. You'd love this. Each one says, I miss you, without having to say it outright. He's mentally including you in his moments, picturing you beside him, thinking about what could make things better, and it's always you. When a man's thoughts automatically place you in every scene, when he can't fully enjoy something without wishing you were there to share it, he's not just showing interest, he's emotionally attached. Beyond these 3 main phrases, there are other 3-word texts that deserve attention because they reveal just as much emotion. Good morning, beautiful. Sleep well tonight. Can't stop smiling. You made my day. Each of these carries meaning far deeper than the few words on your screen. Let's look at what they really say and why they matter. Good morning, beautiful, or any version that includes affection, shows that you're his first thought when he wakes up. Before checking work emails, before scrolling social media, before anything else, he's thinking about you and wants you to know it. He's setting the tone for your day with warmth, letting you feel his affection from the very start. He wants to be the reason you smile in the morning. That's a man who's built you into his routine in the most thoughtful way possible. Sleep well tonight means he wants to be your last thought too, or at least hopes he is. He's giving you emotional comfort, making sure you go to sleep feeling safe, appreciated, and remembered. Men who send goodnight texts often are the ones who want to frame your day, being there in the quiet start and the peaceful end. They're creating closeness through consistency and soft care. Can't stop smiling is his way of admitting that you affect him physically. That talking to you, thinking about you, or just being around you makes his body react without control. His face literally lights up because of you, and he's not hiding it. He wants you to know the joy you bring him. He's not trying to stay cool or distant. He's showing you that you make him genuinely happy. You made my day carries huge weight because it's proof of your impact. Out of everything that happened to him, you're what stood out. You're the reason a normal day became special. He's telling you that your presence, your energy, and your words have real meaning to him, that they change his mood, shift his perspective, make his life a little better. When a man keeps saying you make his day, he's quietly explaining why he wants you in his life for good. What ties all these three-word messages together is how they wrap deep emotions inside simplicity. They're his way of sharing pieces of his heart in a form that feels safe. Short, soft, controlled, but honest. Don't confuse the small size of these texts with small feelings. These are glimpses of something much larger beneath the surface. What he feels might be vast, even overwhelming, but he's learning to show it little by little at a pace that feels comfortable. Now that you know what these texts really mean, the question is, how do you respond? How do you react in a way that honors his honesty while staying true to your worth? Because knowing what they mean is just one half of it. The other half is how you respond to make the connection stronger rather than letting it fade. The best way to answer a meaningful message is with warmth and sincerity. You don't need to delay your reply or pretend you're less interested. You don't need to create distance to seem mysterious. When a man is showing genuine emotion, the right response is to meet him with the same energy. If he says, thinking about you, and you really were thinking about him, say so. If he asks, how are you, and truly listens, give him real answers. Open up, reward honesty with honesty, meet his emotional effort with your own. But here's the balance. Match his energy without overdoing it, especially early on. If he says, I miss you, you can say, I miss you too, or I was just thinking that. You don't have to send a long paragraph about how much you miss him, unless it feels completely natural. The goal isn't to outdo him, it's to create balance, where both people feel safe showing emotion. A space where neither is chasing too hard nor holding back too much. Notice the patterns. If he keeps reaching out with these meaningful three-word texts, and you keep responding with openness and warmth, you're building trust. You're showing him that he's safe to be real with you, that his feelings won't be dismissed or ignored. And when a man feels safe emotionally, when he knows his heart is protected with you, he'll start opening more. Those short messages will grow into deeper talks, longer expressions, and honest admissions about what you truly mean to him. So if you've been seeing these patterns, thinking about you, how are you, I miss you, appearing again and again in your messages, and you've been wondering if they mean something more, trust your gut. You're not reading too much into it. You're recognizing exactly what's there. A man who's genuinely into you. Not in a wild or unstable way, but in the kind of deep way that seeps into his routines, his thoughts, and his emotions. You've become part of his daily rhythm, his comfort zone, his unspoken peace. And that's often how real love begins. Not with grand gestures or dramatic confessions, but with quiet, consistent moments. 3 simple words sent when you least expect them. Words like thinking about you. Words that ask, how are you? Words that softly admit, I miss you. Because when a man opens that door, even just a little, even with just a few words, he's inviting you into his world. And if you walk through that door with the same courage and honesty, you might discover that those small words were the start of something bigger than either of you could have planned. Something lasting, something real.
The truth is, when it's genuine, you don't have to question it. Those short texts become your shared language, a quiet code between two people who understand each other. In a world full of pretending and overthinking, there's something rare and beautiful about a man who just sends 3 honest words and trusts you'll feel everything he means. Because sometimes that's all it takes. 3 simple words that carry the whole story.